Alternatively, do you stay in your comfortable little box,
Yeah.
build that white bread sandwich.
Hello, and welcome to Tabletop Finds, brought to you by Tabletop Travel Guide. I'm Tyler,
I'm Ryan.
I'm Sam.
and today we're going to be talking about Ancestries. So we've all brought 2 Ancestries to talk about, but before we get in, I have a question for the other hosts. When you build characters, are you a basic ancestry person? You like to go for that human natural ambition, or do you like to get crazy with it?
I think it depends on the campaign.
I agree with Ryan.
Majority, where you at?
I feel like when I'm informed of the campaign, I want to go crazy. And then when I really think about my life and think about my choices and think about the setting, then it usually turns into, well, that probably wouldn't make a lot of sense. So I'm going to go back to bog standard human or something.
That's fair.
Yeah, I feel like I probably am like 75% boring and 25% experimental. I don't know how to say that. That sounded weird. That's fine.
Same's the experimental one.
Only 25%. Yeah, I tend also to go, I feel like, boring at the end of the day. Because you're just like, it's just easy to throw a human out there. And then you don't have to... I feel like it depends on the campaign, like you said, because sometimes you'll get into a campaign and it's like, okay, how do I explain the fact that there's like a Galoma just chilling out in Andoran?
Yeah, some of them are harder than others to justify.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like you can, like, if human is your boring, like, white bread, you can put a bunch of toppings on it, and then suddenly you have a magnificent sandwich. You don't have to just put, like, PB&J on it, so all of your, like, classes and archetypes and feats and backgrounds make it, jazz it up a little bit, so sometimes it's just easier to start with, like, a pretty standard base and then build.
I'm just happy that Leshies are now common.
That's true.
It's one of my favorite characters, was a Leshie.
Leshies are great.
I've never picked human for the versatile, or like, I've never been like, ooh, mechanically I want to play.
Yeah.
No,
like,
me neither.
It just, a lot of it, like, depending on their campaigns, it just kind of like, everybody's human, we're all just human. It's fine. Or like, elf, or whatever. Cool. Okay. Well, with that out of the way, how experimental each of us are. Ryan, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so I'll go immediately experimental then.
Cool.
I love automatons.
Oh, no.
Yes! It happened! It happened!
Okay, we're going to...
Finally, the not coordinating with each other has caught up
It
to
happened!
us.
I thought this was going to happen. Okay, let's go for it.
Let's go.
We
both picked automatons. Did you also pick mage automaton?
I did not. Go for it.
So mage automaton lets you like have a direct connection to automatons because they were created as like magical constructs essentially.
Yeah.
So that gives you an additional cantrip, and then you get like some more initial like an innate spell casting. And then the way automaton lore is, they all look kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
So at least my perspective is like they look kind of more traditional magey versus the other ones.
Well, they look more traditional like robots.
Yeah.
Kind of. So like the interesting thing, were you going to go into their history a little bit? Or
I was not going to go too deep, but you go for it.
So automatons were from, we talked about androids, which are basically human-looking things with like maybe some glowing eyes and some like weird veins. So automatons look like robots. They have like glowing cores, like weird, like robot, just kind of very fancy AF robots.
Go Gadget Arms?
Cooler than that. Way cooler. One of my favorite...
I'm showing a picture to Sam.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like...
They make me think of the Sentinels from X-Men.
Warframe.
My second
So
X-Men
the fun fact
the
about automatons is that I think it was either Luis Loza or somebody who made the automatons was really into Warframe and basically built them like designed them after the Warframes, like cyber ninjas.
Well, they look like it.
Yeah. So they were created by putting way back in the day, the Jitska Imperium, which we've mentioned very briefly.
Dibs on that episode. We're going to do a whole episode on that one, I think.
So they were the first human empire to rise up out of Earthfall.
Okay.
And they were highly advanced. And so long story short, they were fighting with ancient Osirian, blah, blah, blah. We're at war. The automatons were created as kind of a last-ditch effort to keep the empire going. And so they put the mind, life force, and souls of Jitskin individuals into constructs. And unfortunately, it was kind of a little too late, and the empire crumbled soon
Didn't
after.
work.
So the crazy thing is, there are no more, like, automatons are not created. The ones that are around are from 10,000 years ago.
Oh, geez.
So, like, the kind of downside is you have a basically mortal mind in an immortal body. So everyone are effectively 10,000-year-old humans. And so the ones that are around, you're like, are keeping it together somehow.
Barely.
Can you like pop a consciousness out and put a new one in?
So no, it's like, you're it. That's it.
Okay.
And even unlike the androids, which kind of like do that rebirth cycle, like automatons are just there.
Oh.
So yeah, a lot of them have gone crazy. But anyway, what feats did you like, Ryan, after your mage automaton?
I mean, there's just... Oh, I lost my page, actually. Oh, there they are.
So you liked the mage heritage. I liked, and I chose the sharpshooter heritage.
Okay.
So all of the automatons are kind of built for combat because they were kind of war machines or war frames. Bum, bum, bum. The sharpshooter one is kind of made for ranged attacks, and it gets a special action that lets you aim and ignore penalties in your second and third range increments. So like you spend an action, you don't take the -2 in the second range increment. You take 2 actions, and then your attack negates 3 actions. So like if you had a long weapon, you could feasibly be shooting from like 500 feet out at no penalty.
Jeez.
Which makes it a cool sniper.
That is cool.
Yeah. Ryan, what feat did you pick?
I really like the idea of enlarged chassis.
Okay, what's that one do?
It means you're just bigger. You get the effects of enlarge constantly.
Oh, nice.
And I just think it's really cool, the idea like, I'm a powerful wizard, and also I'm huge. I'm a huge robot wizard.
What level is that?
It's pretty far. It's 13, so it's not like you can just do that. Like it's almost like the comical thing of like the automaton goes to sleep, or like everyone goes to sleep, and then when you wake up in the morning, it's like they're a one size category larger. Have you always been like that?
You look different. Did you?
No difference.
No
I don't know
difference.
what you're talking about.
So the feat I picked, and there's so many. The automaton has such cool like weapon augmentation feats and like body, but I picked an even higher level one called Core Cannon.
Core Cannon.
So basically, you turn into a big old cannon that can shoot blasts and cause fire and force damage.
Well, sure.
So you become immobile. Your body turns into a big gun, and then you can just shoot.
Kind of like Cosmos. Oh God, what was that? What's that from? Cosmos is from Xenosaga. Man,
oh my gosh,
that's a deep cut. Yeah, Cosmos has an attack in those games where her chest turns into a cannon. It's called R Cannon, and it shoots. I'm gonna have to find a picture for Sam again. I sound like a crazy person.
But yeah, so I just really like the idea of, and you can stay in cannon form for up to a minute or until you revert back into your standard form. But I really think this is super cool because you're like, is it fantasy? Kind of fantasy thing? No. Is it optimal? Probably not.
I mean, it's fantasy enough.
That's fair. But man, I just want to be in combat and be like, okay, I turn into a cannon. Like, guys, watch my back. Cannon mode. Then just turn into a cannon. But yeah, so I guess that's Ryan and I's first one. Literally, when I was looking through Automaton, I'm like, Ryan is gonna pick this one.
Yep.
If there's one that both of us are gonna pick, it's Automaton.
Yeah, it happened. I thought the same thing too, and I was like, we're gonna commit.
We're gonna send it. Okay, so since Ryan and I have joint ancestry our first one, how about you, Sam? What do you got?
All right. Well, in the opposite direction, I chose Fetchling.
We've heard about the fetchlings a little bit.
Yeah, I really like this ancestry. I think it's really fun to play. So again, I chose one that I'm familiar with and one that I haven't done. So this is the one that I have used before. So fetchlings, essentially their history is when we had Earthfall.
Mhm.
Remember, we have some Aslant people, and they are like, please help us, Earthfall. And so then a mysterious figure known as the Widow shows up, slices open a passage into the shadow plane,
Sure.
and this group of humans goes through, and then their descendants become the fetchlings, which are these like humanoid shadow people.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Tale as old as time.
survived an apocalypse, became something weird.
And what's the shadow plane called now? Is that the Netherworld?
That sounds right.
I think so.
It's the Netherworld.
I think so. Yeah, so they are essentially shadow people, so they get some fun shadowy things.
Nice.
So for my heritage, I chose Bright Fetchling to talk about.
Mhm.
So this is the one where if we think about like balance, like we can't have darkness without light. So bright fetchlings are the light part of the shadow. So they can emit dim light from themselves
Oh,
in like a 5 foot. And you can activate or suppress that so you don't have to like glow all the time. And then you can also like cast like dancing lights and light as innate cantrips too through that.
Nice.
So I think that's just like a fun way to kind of subvert the build
Yeah.
a little bit. And then there's lots of fun feats. The one I chose to talk about is Shadowy Disguise. So essentially you use shadows to alter your appearance. And it's the equivalent of being able to cast Illusory Disguise.
oh, okay.
Nice.
But you have the shadow trait on the spell when you use it.
So you kind of like sheath yourself in shadow. And
That looks like something else.
Hmm.
So, and there's like a ton of feats that all have to do with like shadow things, obviously.
of course.
But they're fun to play with.
Yeah.
So I like that one.
Well, it's cool just to have, from a flavor hook, you have the whole Netherworld, which is like Shadow
Mhm.
Galarian,
Mhm.
and like your character in my
Mhm.
campaign is a fetchling. So there's some cool plot hooks that are from from the Netherworld that
Mhm.
show up, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
There's like Absalom and Shadow Absalom, and there's an entrance there in Absalom.
I want to go to Shadow Absalom.
Yeah, it's called Beacon.
Beacon.
Mhm.
Beacon. I want to go to Beacon in a campaign just for a day.
That would be cool.
Be neat.
Explore it.
Nice. Okay. So
Do you want to go on your second one first, Tyler? Since we shared.
yes, I'll go on my second one first. And hopefully we
I was say this will be amazing if we share. If we
Okay,
Keep the same
so
one
my second one is, I believe, uncommon,
okay, we're good.
I think, and it is Ratfolk.
Ratfolk.
Ratfolk. So also called Yosoki, or
Yes.
yeah, Yosoki. They are clever, adaptable, and fastidious. I didn't pick that word.
Fastidious?
Fastidious.
I don't know how it's spelled. That's my best guess.
Fastidious ancestry who happily crowd their large families into the smallest of living spaces.
Aw.
So these little rat folk, they pack into homes as many as 100 in a house.
Oh
Oh
boy.
man.
They also live in caves and caverns because it provides ample storage, because also they are big hoarders.
Love it.
So they like all their trinkets. They like being prepped. They will just hide stuff for future generations.
Doomsday
Are they
preppers.
preppers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're kind of like little preppers. It's like, I may need this. Gonna go shove that in a wall somewhere. Could use it. And they're good at like spotting things out of the ordinary, whether that be treasure or traps or whatever. So I never think to play Ratfolk, but I really like the art as well, because they're like not just like dirty old rats. They're like fancy little nice rats. I don't know. But the heritages are all kind of common. I guess that there's not anything like super crazy. It's like
Mhm.
winter rat and desert rat
Mhm.
and
Sure.
stuff. So there's nothing too special. I picked Shadow Rat.
Shadow Rat.
So be friends with the fetchling. But you're basically better at intimidating other animals, and animals start unfriendly towards you. 'Cause you like gain intimidation and like intimidating glare and stuff.
Oh, and they don't like you.
Yeah. So you're kind of like a bully rat, like
The mean rat from the streets.
a mean rat, street rat.
Thank you, Aladdin.
So I didn't pick Ratfolk for the heritages. I picked them for the feat chain that involves their cheek pouches.
Oh
Oh,
my
boy.
gosh, of course you did.
This is a thing for you. You like ancestries that also have ways to store things.
Yes, that's true. I was a Leshy once and had the gourd head, and you can just stick stuff in your head. So yeah, cheek pouches are hilarious. So at first level, you can take them, and basically you have your like big old cheeks that you can fit 4 items of negligible or of light bulk in their pouches,
Sure.
but you kind of become harder to understand. So you're like talking with your mouth full. But then like the feat chain to better your cheek pouches are hilarious. So you have like big mouth, where instead of like 4 items of light bulk, you can just store 1 item of 1 bulk.
Oh,
my
okay.
gosh.
So like you just like I don't know, stuff a barrel in there.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is, and then there's also quick stow, which is like the opposite of quick draw.
You
But
just,
it's in
like,
your cheeks.
throw
As a
something in
free
there?
action, you like stuff something in your cheeks. It's like, we've been caught. Stuff it in
They'll
your
never
mouth.
know.
The final feat in this chain, I am incredibly delighted by. It's called Uncanny Cheeks.
Oh my gosh.
And you get the feats Prescient Planner and Prescient Consumable, but you pull them out of your cheek pouches. So what those feats are is basically like you are always prepped and ready to go. So like given a minute, you can pull something out of your backpack that's either like a consumable of like common or like of a level or lower,
Yeah.
or like whatever, like a rope or a lantern or something. But I just love the idea of you as a Ratfolk being like, wait a second, I got something for this. Is it dark? Give me a minute. Just like pull a lantern out of your mouth. Keep that in there for safekeeping.
Like, oh, I'm going to a minute.
Yeah, so, or just like that. It's like, oh, hold on, we need to get down a chasm. Give me a minute. 50 feet of rope. Pull it out of my cheek pouch.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
I love
anyway,
it.
Ratfolk and their cheek pouches are just adorable and hilarious. So
I wish
I
I,
love
had
it.
cheek pouches.
cheek. I just like any, between quick stow and prescient or uncanny cheeks, like I just like the idea of you're somewhere and somebody's like trying to catch you with something. You're like, oh no, I need to hide my weapon. Just stuff it in your
And
mouth.
then you pull the caltrops out of your mouth.
Surprise!
Pocket sand. Cheek sand.
Cheek sand. Cheek traps.
Oh, no. And we're done. That's enough of that.
It's fine. Okay, so
Well, Sam,
Ratfolk.
I have picked the most bog standard second option. Because someone
Human.
has to. No, I didn't pick human. I picked dwarf.
Oh, okay.
Because I love my dwarves. And I just
That's
have
fair.
a special affection for them. And I've had many a good dwarven character. So we've talked a lot about dwarves in previous episodes. They are the underground folk, of course. They are still medium, though. They're not short
Yeah.
and tiny.
Well, they're short and wide.
They're short and
boxy.
wide. Yes, they're boxy. And they do walk a little slower. There's ways to mitigate that with their feet chains, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Anvil Dwarf.
Mm.
You're a dwarf that's good at crafting. It's like the most
Nice.
generic. You want to play a dwarf?
You are a dwarf that is good at dwarfing.
Yeah. You want to play like the Tolkien dwarf who can hit stuff with hammers? Anvil Dwarf is the way to go.
Nice.
And then to even build further on that, I did like this one separately, Battle Forger as the feat.
Oh.
Ooh.
For spending 1 hour, you can put something as a +1 potency rune.
Oh, what level is that?
Level 9.
Okay.
Nice.
So it's probably not useful for like your primary weapons.
It's like a good backup.
Yeah, if you're like, oh, we're going to go fight a bunch of skeletons and I don't have any blunt weapons, you could go in and just like tink, tink, tink on your weapon for an hour, and all of a sudden it's like masterwork quality or like really good quality, and
Nice.
it gives you a bonus.
Does that
Nice.
like scale up at any point? Can you also do like striking at some point, or is it just...
No, it's just the normal one. The same thing for armor. It just gives you the +1. But if you have that need in a campaign,
Yeah.
of like I need
Need
that
something.
little more out of something, or like an NPC gives you a special item, you're like, oh, I can make this even better.
Yeah. +1s matter in Pathfinder 2.
+1s do matter in Pathfinder 2. Other than that, they're pretty bog standard, right? Like they have lots of ways to get around specific issues. Like you can get some different resistances from their feat chains and their ancestries. You can get some minor advantages. You can get like diehard kind of.
Yeah.
It's just a great standard choice. There's a reason it's common.
Standard choice. Yeah.
Nice.
Take us home, Sam.
Take us home.
I chose the cutest ancestry.
Is it skeletons?
No.
Ooh. Also cute.
So adorable. No, I chose the rare ancestry of Puppet.
Puppets.
They're so cute. They are small and they are basic constructs that help people with stuff. They look like toys, or it's like Pinocchio or a doll, and they just sound adorable. But anyway, they become sentient in various ways. So the way that I chose, because I thought it was, again, the most adorable, was the Wishborn Poppet, which is a poppet that was wished to life, either by a powerful spellcaster or the earnest desire of an innocent person who loved them very much.
Aww.
I know, it's so cute!
Aww.
It's like the Velveteen Rabbit up in here. So yes, most adorable, obviously. And then if you are a Wishborn Poppet, if you roll a success on a saving throw against an emotion or fear effect, you get a crit success because you are just so full of hope and life and innocence.
Must be
It's
protected at all
excellent.
costs.
Right? And then I just chose one feat because I thought it was hilarious. It's called Histrionic Injury,
What?
and it's a reaction. So if you're attacked and you take damage, you can respond with a startled look, a dramatic fall, or a theatrical arm flailing that throws off your attacker, and then they have to roll a will save or become stupefied
Like,
by this overdramatic reaction to being like attacked.
Taking a dive, man.
How dare you? Blah!
I just, it's even funnier because it's just like,
It's
a little toy. So you like, the big old enemy is like trying to stab a little toy that's trying to attack it, and then it just, oh no, and then just like faints.
Forsooth. Oh.
So I just thought this sounded adorable and hilarious, and I was very excited.
I said, she told me she was doing Poppet, and I jokingly had an idea for a Poppet called Cindy Suplex.
Yes, we talked about this.
We did,
Yes.
which is a Poppet with the wrestler archetype. It's basically a toy that's just like suplexing random people. So we need like Poppet Army, like a bunch of toys come to life.
It's really excellent.
Yeah, whole party of toys.
Oh, Cindy Suplex needs to happen.
Cindy Suplex.
It's going to happen.
Yes.
It's going to show up somewhere.
Somebody, I need this character built. I need a campaign. Let me be a Poppet. Poppets are super cool. And I think they're in Grand Bazaar.
Sounds right.
Yes, Grand Bazaar.
I guess we need to say, I think automatons are Guns and Gears.
Dwarves are from Treasure Vault, obviously.
They are the treasure.
They're from the player handbook.
Well, yeah, thank you. I was looking
In
up.
case any of you were wondering.
Looking up rat folk. Dwarves are from the rat folk are from Advanced Player's Guide. So
And automatons are Guns and Gears.
Guns and Gears, yeah.
It's like my favorite book. I read that book cover to cover.
Yeah. I have I have the subscription to the Pathfinder RPG books, and Guns and Gears was a good one.
Like I like Rage of Elements. I just love Guns and Gears. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. So, Ancestries.
Delightful.
And, don't hesitate to branch out to different ancestries. As people who also don't branch out that often. You look at some other things, even while looking for this episode, there are ones that have come out that I'm like, I remember hearing about this at some point, but I've never looked into it. Like, so they just have so many now. Just try them out. They got all kinds of flavor.
Or, alternatively, do you stay in your comfortable little box.
Yeah.
Build that white bread sandwich.
Your toppings can still be delicious.
You can still pick some archetypes that we talked about.
Yeah.
Some zesty mayo.
A nice spicy aioli on top of your boring human.
Yeah, live out your dreams.
Live out your dreams. Cool. Well, thanks again to everybody. Glad you joined us on the first episode where we finally picked the same thing. Though if it was going to happen, it was Ancestries. There's not too many there.
That many Ancestries.
Yeah. So if it happens on like background something next time, that'll be really impressive.
Yeah.
But cool. Well, thanks everybody, and safe travels.